Tommy Reynolds has his gun out. He's pointing the gun, and all of a sudden, I see this woman.
They say it's on every single station. They're saying that Daddy died.
He said there was an accident and your father is no longer with us.
In real life, I'm not like that.
And the Mario test was disgusting.
One night I jumped out of a car doing 60 miles an hour because I was addicted.
Salute, Mob Tube. Salute, Mob Tube. How is everyone tonight? Now, as many of you know, I did a show earlier about Alpo. He was killed about 3 a.m. on the corner of 147th Street near Frederick Douglass Boulevard in Harlem. He was a legendary drug dealer turned informant. After he got caught, he cooperated. He got 35 years in prison for 14 murders on his cooperation agreement. He wound up doing, I believe, 24 of those years, part of it in ADX Supermax in Florence, Colorado. And he got out in 2015. I know he entered witness protection. Maybe he dropped out of it and he wound up going back to Harlem, where he was killed early this morning. So I know I already did a show on this, but I want to talk a little bit more about what happens next. It's an important thing for me to talk about. That's why I'm doing multiple shows on it. Because first of all, I always followed the story of these three guys, Rich Porter, Alpo, and AZ Faison. So, this is a kind of a big thing for me, and this is big news in general because it is a famous informant who was killed, and we don't see this very often. Also, it happened at Halloween. And there's been other hits that have taken place on Halloween before. So I want to show a picture that a subscriber sent me. This will give you an idea of how targeted this shooting was. This is Alpo's car. Now you could see that cluster of shots. Doesn't look like they just drove by and sprayed the car. They know exactly who they were going for, and they hit him. So I want to talk about, he thought shit was sweet. Yeah. Yeah, Lexi Johnson. That's what I want to talk about. Thank you, See No Evil 69. I appreciate that. Let's see. Damien Omen traits. This is why gang members are more dangerous than the mafia now. Bottom line. And we found that out today. Wasn't sure I'd ever be saying those words or thanks, pounding that pink veal. Thanks. Welcome. Yeah, I never thought it would come to that. But it apparently has. Now, he wasn't in a gang, but I think Damien's point is, regular street guys and not, so much people that are involved in organized crime, people who are part of a larger criminal organization. What's up, Anthony Salerno? They say the feds might have set that up to give him the new identity. Does the feds do like shit like that in real life? It sounds like a conspiracy theory to me. I highly doubt it. They could have already given him a new identity. It appears if he was back in Harlem, I'm assuming he dropped out of witness protection. Maybe not. Um, yeah. Hold on. I want to get to this other comment. So I don't think that's the case. I mean, he left prison and went into witness protection. But listen, he liked the spotlight. If you know about Alpo's story, or if you've seen the movie Paid in Full, and I hope some of you watched that since my earlier show. Um, this is a guy who loved the limelight. He loved the attention. He wanted to be out there like that, and he knew he was still going to get a lot of love in Harlem. So I think that was his hometown, and that's where he decided to go back to. Some people, and rightfully so in a lot of cases, think that they're safe after they do that, after they turn informant, because we don't see anything happen to anyone who does it. So I think, I think he just he thought he'd be okay, or he just didn't care because he was always a reckless dude. Jordan Canada, was he in witness protection outside prison? I feel like his first day out, he was in Harlem on the block. I don't know for sure, but as far as I know, he was in witness protection after he got out of prison. He ruined a few lives himself. Many, many, many. RPMJ, I watched it again not too long ago. Yeah, fantastic movie. Somebody said, wait a minute. I don't know if the mob has someone that needs to get dead, it'll happen. Doesn't mean the mob's not dangerous one bit. Well, Lexi, not from what we're seeing. It doesn't seem like it'll happen, and it hasn't. So, but yeah, I want to get to that Cali Connect. What you asked? He said he ratted, but still did 35 years. Yeah, and that's what I can't speak. RJ Roger from Black Handprint Mafia was on earlier. We spoke about the disparity, the differences. Yeah, and there's differences for obvious reasons. It's a shame, but it is the way it is. It is odd, that somebody like Sammy or other mob informants can kill, numerous people and walk away with 5 years if they get any prison time at all. And this guy, Puerto Rican drug dealer from Harlem, he cooperates, puts away a guy that killed a shit ton of people, um, and he gets 35 years. I mean, you don't have to put a lot of thought into it to figure it out. I'm understanding Alpo was trying to get back into life. Yes. I was reading about it earlier, and it does seem that he was reaching out to people. I know he was trying to reach out to Kevin Childs to let him know that he's not, or that he never ratted on him. And he was trying to go through like, middlemen and stuff, intermediaries, whatever you want to call it, to try to get a hold of, people from the drug business and stuff. So yeah, it's starting to seem like, and would you be surprised, really? I mean, the guy, look how the guy lived his life. I mean, since he was a kid, he was making a fortune on the street. The guy would buy clothes and jewelry to match his new cars. I mean, we've talked about this before with drug dealers. It's very hard to, you know, um, to kind of adapt to any other standard of living once you're used to having that kind of money. And not just that, but the attention and stuff that comes with being a drug dealer, a kingpin anyway. It's just like being a mob guy, you know what I mean? In your community, you're almost like a hero. And you're held in high regard in many cases, and people kind of, um, I guess I could say, they move out of your way. They make room for you. You're important, and that's how you're seen because you have the money and to some extent the power that goes along with being like a drug kingpin. So, would it be surprising if he was trying to get right back into the drug business? Of course not. I wouldn't expect anything else. I'd be shocked if he wasn't, honestly. Rumple Foreskin, 4.99. Thank you. Never let your guard down and always be aware of your surroundings. Absolutely. It sounds like he had been in witness protection, last known address in Maine, if what I read was accurate. Yeah, I'm quite sure he was, especially if a guy like that ends up in a place like Maine. Um, all right, Miss Can't Be Wrong. See you soon. But it's I guess you could just say it says a lot about because this is a mob channel. That's generally what we talk about is the Italians, the mafia, Cosa Nostra, whatever you want to call it. I know that there's a moratorium on murder and there's a no kill order, whatever you want to call it, at least in New York. But RJ Roger made a good point earlier when he said, but they're the only group that isn't killing anymore. It's not like because we hear, oh, there's too many cameras, there's this, there's that. Other groups are doing it. Mexicans, Russians, street gangs. Um, they're still doing it, and it's with all the mob rats walking around. It is I guess to an extent, it's sort of surprising when one of these guys finally gets killed, one of these informants, and it winds up being somebody like Alpo rather than somebody who testified against or gave information on a pretty large organization, an historic organization like Cosa Nostra. But look, this is what it seems like it is now. The mob isn't killing people anymore. They're not setting any examples, you know, to let people know that becoming a rat, an informant, cooperator is dangerous and it's not going to be forgiven. So I don't know what to say, but that's why I titled this show the way I did, is because the question now is, yeah, I know, bad golfer, Vlad TV. Yeah. The question now is, does anything change? Or, maybe this just passes and nothing happens. But at least in that community, okay, in Harlem, for example, and different, same types of neighborhoods in other areas, whatever. Maybe not just New York, but neighborhoods where it's more like drug crime and stuff like that, and it's not necessarily organized crime. Um, does this place fear in anybody? People that are quick to tell on other people, or have been, or are thinking about making that decision. Or do people just look at it like, ah, no, we're still okay. He only got killed because he was, you know, a major figure. You know what I mean? Who knows? Maybe that's the case. Maybe we'll find out he got killed over a girl or something else. Maybe it has nothing to do with him being a rat. I highly doubt that, though. And who knows what we'll be told, whether we'll get the truth or not. Once more information comes out, I don't know. Danny F. I heard he would pull up on people who were talking smack, confront them, and when he punked them down, one of his people would snap a pic, post it to show that people talk but do not act when confronted. Oh, he was doing that recently? Was he doing that recently, Danny F? Yeah, maybe he was just talking shit. It's another thing. He could have got involved in some kind of beef on the street, whatever. It could be something as simple as that. But let's face it, odds are he had this coming. Somebody was either just looking for the right moment or wrong place, wrong time. Um, Maybe somebody who had been waiting to see him finally saw him. I don't know. See no evil 69. Do you think it's the LCN trying to go back to the original beliefs that it's a secret society? What do you think, FPS? That crossed my mind too. I could be totally wrong. Maybe it's not a matter of, they're just not willing to enforce these rules and make people suffer consequences. Maybe it's just that they've decided, yeah, it's time to go back to the way it was. Let's keep it a secret. Let's stay out of the spotlight as much as possible. Killing anybody is going to bring um, heat on the organization, and in turn, it's going to make it impossible for us to do business. But the problem is, though, along with those original beliefs that it's a secret society, was murder. Um, right along with the way it used to be when it was, or at least was supposed to be, a secret society, people got killed. And let's face it, that's a lot of the way they kept it a secret society for a while, or as close as possible, by making sure people didn't talk. Even though people weren't nearly as quick to speak or talk back then as they are now. So I don't know. Could be. But I think it's most likely that um, guys just fear other members and cohorts becoming informants so greatly that they decided it's just not worth it anymore. Let's just let them do their thing. They tell on us, oh well, let it go, I guess. But like me and RJ were talking about earlier, I mean, where do you go with it from there then? How do you conduct any kind of criminal operation or organization when nobody in that organization is afraid to tell? I don't know. I don't know. It's crazy. Let's see. Gianni A Light organized the hit. That's what I think. Um, let's see. Nah, the old timers in the life just don't want to do the time, and the young dudes are incapable of doing it. You need that fear instilled. It's a major asset. Yeah, absolutely. And the reason I asked RJ earlier what he thinks about does this make the mob look bad in a way? Because now it's proof that it's not just them letting people get away with this anymore. Or I'm sorry that maybe it is just them letting people get away with this because even these guys in Harlem were willing to kill an informant. Um, so it doesn't make them look bad. And I say that because let's face it, we know how mob guys look at guys in Harlem and stuff like that, street guys, drug dealers, the black guys in Harlem, let's be honest. They certainly never would take them that seriously. They just looked at them as thugs, but here you see an example of those guys in Harlem doing something the mob's just not willing to do anymore. So I don't know, man. It's crazy, but it's made me think a lot today. Right, Losito. He should have started a YouTube channel. That seems to be the safe bet. Why are people acting like the blacks aren't doing anything about Takashi? Why are people I don't know. I can't speak for people, but um they're not. Nobody is. Black street gangs are more gangster than the gangsters. Possibly. You can't get away with it. That I don't believe that. Why couldn't you? I mean, what's really changed? If you like, for example, okay. Now I see with the mob, this is part of the reason they don't want to do it because nothing is done like there's not some lone gunman that goes out. You know, the order comes from someone, probably passed through someone else before it gets to the shooter. The shooter does the hit. Now there's three guys that all got to worry about each other, or at the very least, they got to worry from the bottom up. Does the shooter tell on this guy? Does this guy then turn and tell on the boss? I understand stuff like that, but you know, we always hear about how um, we always hear about you know, and we know that there's guys in the street that want to make a name for themselves that are willing to obviously kill to maybe get their button or whatever else it is. You would think these guys would be out there somewhere. You would think there would be a guy who'd be like, "Oh, there's that rat." You know what I mean? I'm gonna take him out, whatever. But then same thing. You can't even do if you do that. It's still got to be a secret because if you want to use it to get your button or anything else, you got to tell somebody. So I don't know, man. Let me see some comments here. Carlos, yeah. Well, that's the funny thing too today, and you know, you're always going to get different sides, but I saw plenty of YouTube shows today where they were still propping this guy Alpo up as, you know, not a saint but a hero and a legend and I don't know. To some people I guess he is. But Takashi seems to be a big subject. Listen, Takashi uh I honestly believe Takashi's going to get killed one day. Without a doubt. It might take a while. But you got to remember, I know Takashi tries to make it look like he's just out there doing his thing. Takashi is surrounded by security and cameras every fucking where he goes. Cops too. Any place he shows up to, the cops have to protect him. They just have to. Um, there's no way around it. So he's not, you know, I know he acts like a hard ass. He's trying to walk around tough. He's not walking around out there by himself. He's not even going out with just a little crew. He's got, you know, there was a video of him one day in the street, and he probably had 10 fucking security guards with him. I'm sure many of which are retired cops or off duty cops, whatever. You know, he's got the money for his own security team. Plus, there's always cameras on. It's hard. But again, that's not like the mob. There's going to be guys that want him dead. You know, people from the Bloods and shit, who they don't give a fuck, and they'll take a life sentence. That's what Takashi doesn't understand is what Damian the Omen Trite said is true. The bottom line is street gangs are way more dangerous than the mafia now. Way more fucking dangerous. It doesn't matter, you know, whether or not I saw somebody say something about that the mob goes soft, whatever. I don't know. I can't say that. Who knows? We don't know what the mob is doing, but we know what they're not doing. Whereas, you know, street gangs and stuff, the Bloods, the Crips, they'll kill you. You know what I mean? They'll kill you, and there's ones crazy enough that they'll do it in broad light in front of broad daylight in front of your security. So, 6ix9ine has top notch security. Absolutely. FBS, there is a guy named Sal Romano supposedly did white collar stuff for the Gambinos. He's on PBD. Trevor McDonald interviewed him. Okay, same episode as A-Light. Have you heard of him? I never heard of Sal Romano, no. Yeah, they get down to bloods. Hell yeah, they do. Like those are the guys now you just don't want to fuck with. You never really did. But I mean, as far as all these different groups, maybe it's I can't believe it. But I can't believe a lot of what's going on today. Maybe it's just that you're safer becoming a mafia rat than just being a regular rat. That's what it seems like. Um I don't know. Yeah, I'll check it out, TT the Norwegian. Yeah, I'll check that interview out. What do you guys think about the whole thing? I don't know. Oh yeah, Jordan Canada, without a doubt. Mikhail. Um the mob just isn't as organized anymore. Not a lot of cops on the payroll, not as present in neighborhoods filled with Italians that benefit from the safety and stability in the streets. It's true too. They whacked Alpo out by a police department as well. Um, this is why the mafia should have a retirement age. I didn't know story until you dropped it. Oh, really? Yeah, it's a pretty famous story, man. These guys were they were big time, man. They made millions. They can't get away with the same things as they used to. Absolutely not. Street gangs can't get to people the way the mob can. Wait, what? Street gangs can't get to people the way the mob can? It seems like the mob still got the connection. Street gangs just more brazen. I don't know, man. From what we've seen, I don't know. The mob doesn't seem to be good at all with getting to people. Could be whoever runs the drugs wasn't going to let this Alpo take over again. Could be. This can't be wrong. Great show at Black Camper Mafia earlier. You're getting better and better. You will um, really be having people wanting on with you. Well, thank you, Miss Campy Wrong. Michael Bonner. I grew up in Sunset Park, Brooklyn, and street gangs, they would be going at it in the 80s. I seen one gang, the La Familia, shut down a whole avenue and shoot up another gang from rooftops. Yeah, man. Listen, those guys, you still don't want to fuck with them. None of those guys, none of the Latin Kings, none of them. I mean, classic story, inspiration for paid in full. Yeah, anybody. I talked about it earlier. Anybody who hasn't seen it already, watch it tonight if you get a chance. This is it right here. Um, that's the movie Paid in Full. It's the story of Rich Porter, Az Faison, and Albert Alpo Martinez. In the movie, the names are a little different. They're all played by great actors. Even Cameron, who knew, could be as good as he was as an actor in that movie. But excellent movie. Came out in 2002. I've been watching it ever since. I'll never stop watching it. It's one of my favorites. Very tragic story all around for everybody involved. And it's definitely worth watching or checking out even some of the documentaries. There's been many on those guys. Alpo even did some things since he got out of prison that you can watch. But I would check it out if you haven't seen it already. I think it's on YouTube and Amazon Prime for like $2.99 and a couple of other places you can watch it. I will, TT the Norwegian, I promise. I'll get to it. Uh, let's see. It's possible. If you're a rich mob guy and don't kill a rat, you're soft. If you kill them, you're a dummy. Lose lose. Well, things have changed. It's not even about them being soft. It's just that I just think there's no denying anymore at this point that the mob isn't doesn't even really resemble anything it used to. It's completely different. I don't know. But what do I know? Who the hell knows? For all I know, it could be stronger than ever. I don't know. RJ, what a gentleman. Yeah, he's a great guy. Danny F., a bunch of guys from Alpo's era have gotten out in the last few years, so who knows? Maybe one of them arranged it. I doubt it, though. I think one of those young cats did it. Most likely. Most likely. Or who knows? It could have been a family member of somebody. I mean, I don't know. Or like I said, it could be something stupid. It could have been over a beef in the street or over a fucking girl or he had words with the wrong person. Shit like this happens. Go to YouTube and put in Queen's Flip interview about Big L. In there, they talked to two people who were producing Big L's album around the same time they were involved with Alpo. Yeah. And Big L is one of my favorite MCs of all time. Queen's Flip is fucking hilarious. The Mafia in Italy, Def's still a force? Oh my God, yeah. Yeah. And I'm not saying they're not a force here. Listen, I don't know anything more than anyone else knows about what the mob is doing now. I'm just saying that we haven't seen them kill anyone in a pretty long fucking time. And certainly not, a rat. So I don't know. Like I said, they could be stronger than ever. Maybe they went back to the way it was supposed to be. I have no idea. I'm just saying, like what me and RJ were talking about. It's a good question. What do you do if you have a major rat problem, like they've been having for over 30 years now? What do you do when that's your biggest problem, and you're no longer willing to do what you have to do to put a stop to it, or at least discourage people from doing it? Like I said, look at some of these guys. Some of these guys that rat now, they're not even facing a lot of time. They could be facing a short sentence, but the government and I think society as a whole has made it so appealing almost to become an informant that it's almost like I think they plan it before they even get busted for anything. I think that it's already their decision is already made. Like, for example, well, like we were saying earlier, you not only now, it's not like before when they loved the life. The life was everything to them. The mob was like their family, and they would, um, die before they would betray their friends. I don't think it's the same anymore. I think now, these guys get the opportunity to flip and hop right on it because, like I said, back then it was different. Not only are you betraying your friends and doing something you never thought you would do, but you're immediately outcast. Nobody's ever going to want anything to do with you again. Your community will hate your fucking guts. The people around you, people you loved, people that were closest to you will want nothing to do with you. Some of your own friends and family will never want to speak to you again. And all you can do is do a Henry Hill and go off into witness protection, live a miserable life, become a drunk, become a drug addict, whatever, and then die all alone and miserable. It's not like that now. Now these guys know, okay, yeah, some people will turn on me. A lot of them won't. I don't even have to leave my community. I could go do whatever little time I have to do, go right back to my city. And then I could get a book deal and I could star in a bunch of documentaries like A-Light. And then after that, I'll just hop on YouTube and I'll start telling my stories. I'll immediately get uh, tens of thousands of subscribers and I'll start making a living by sitting in my house and telling my stories. And you're a celebrity now. So you're not on the street anymore kicking up to somebody and trying to make your nut every week. And no, now you're like, you're on your own. You're a celebrity gangster. You get to make a living for the rest of your life telling your story and writing books and being on TV and maybe even movies. And there's really no repercussion. You know you're not going to get hurt. You're definitely not going to get killed. And you don't even have to leave your city in many cases. So when these guys are looking at even 10 years now, that's their option. Do all those things I just named or go sit in a cage for 10 years. So now they're just like, fuck it, I'm not even doing 10 years anymore. When back in the day, it would have been unheard of for somebody to flip over such a short sentence. Now it's like commonplace. They're like, fuck this. You know, I'm not going to prison at all. Why would I? I wrote it till the wheels fell off, and now I'm going to go really make something of my life. Um, oh God, Vic Bagosi, that question about the like, but that's so funny. Um, yeah, everybody, please hit the like button. I'd appreciate it very much. Ali Shabar, what's up, my friend? How are you? Edward Everett, the world changed, and so did the mob. Yeah, absolutely. Frankie Pasqua sold his own father out. These dudes are bottom of the barrel. Yeah, man. Um, Sammy could set up a Steven Crowder change my mind show and not get touched. You're right. You're absolutely right. FBS. You also have to take into account that the majority of the mob is no longer in New York City. Most people have moved out. When someone goes these days, it's in an area, not mob territory, and cover their tracks. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit earlier too. Um, um, the mob has a new method to their madness. No headlines. That's good if that's the case. We just don't know for sure. And don't get me wrong, it's not like there's this too. We got to say this in the favor of the mob. It's not like these guys on the street. Like this guy who could have killed Alpo or who killed Alpo could have been just anyone. He could have just been a guy from the neighborhood, or like I said, a guy that didn't like Alpo. It could have been for even a different reason. Could have been anyone. The mob, though, they're so fucking surveilled and so under the microscope at any given moment. Any guy who's made or has a reputation or associates, they're the FBI's main target in this country still. So yeah, it's way harder for the mob to get to somebody and without being seen or caught. I understand all that, trust me. But that's the question too, man. Is it just become impossible for the mafia to operate? Is what I'm saying. Has it become impossible for them to operate in America between all the law enforcement, um, attention and everything else, and the fact that there are cameras everywhere, and all this kind of shit? Has it just become impossible for them to operate? And do they just have to start doing legitimate shit like RJ was talking about earlier? I don't know. Molino is the ultimate gangster. He's 100% gangster, without a doubt. Queens guy, go wild on the streets and then just tell, and you become famous and get a book deal. That's what seems to be happening. This can't be wrong. You gotta wonder though, A-Light, Panisi, and the rest, when karma will get them. I've been wondering that for so long now. And it seems like they have no fear of it. Like they're just guaranteed. They're convinced. They're sure that nothing's going to ever happen to them. They take no precautions. Just call 911 and everything will be just fine. I think a lot of the murders just stopped because who wants to do life for a broken system? The mafia, and that oath really used to mean something, but you've watched it get watered down your whole life. Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Lexi Johnson, the mob does most of its business in small towns and areas out of New York City. They try not to shit where they eat these days, so when something happens out of town, it's not going to be lit up as a mob hit. FBS, you flow now? What do you mean? I don't know though, Lexi. I mean, you think that just because something doesn't happen in New York City, they're not going to know if it's a mob hit as much scrutiny as everybody is under? I don't think that. And there's still a lot of mob activity going on in New York and Philadelphia, and I'm sure Chicago and Detroit and all these places. So I think the bottom line is they're just not killing people. Have you seen the recent footage of the conditions at MCC? Yes. Yeah, but these are guys, listen, I understand, but these are guys that go into a life and they're supposed to know that they're going to prison and be prepared for that. They closed the books back in the 1960s. They should do that now. Recent South Ozone Park hit was drug related. You seen that police vid, Pasqua, heroin, and gun, etc. He tries to snitch 10 times. No, if somebody could send me that link to my email, I'd appreciate it. I couldn't find it. Fatbalditalian@gmail. Please send me that link. Everybody hit the like button, please. Cops say, okay, calm down. We will get to that. Yeah, I gotta see that. Ain't that way it was supposed to be? Ain't that the way it was supposed to be? I'm not sure. I'm not sure which thing you're referring to because I'm way behind in the comments. Let's see. Let's see. Sammy, Jimmy, FBS, Gunsmoke the Don. Are you shouting out your favorites? I'm glad I made the list. Thank you. Once you get made, you're immediately on the radar. Of course. Lexi Johnson, you really think the feds are still on them like that? Maybe guys like Merlino, but I don't see them tracking whoever's doing the work unless they're sloppy. Yes, I really do. Absolutely, without a doubt. Listen, if there's a rumor that John Gotti Jr. crossed paths with the Latin King. The fucking FBI's on it like that. We saw it not that long ago. I mean, yeah, absolutely. If you're listen, it's always going to be their top priority. They're absolutely still on them like that, without a doubt. Probably more so than ever, honestly, because back then it was a lot easier to catch them doing shit. Now they're not killing people in the street and they're not doing shit so right out in the open. So yeah, I think they're on them even more intensely because they're not gonna take the pressure off. Um, they just have to look harder now to find out what's going on. So they have them under even more scrutiny than they did before. Um, your interviews. That just says your interviews. I don't know what you mean. Oh, thank you, TT the Norwegian. Appreciate it. I'm doing my best. Lexi Johnson, I don't know. I'm from Springfield, so my opinion comes from seeing how much they actually do outside of New York City. Well, that's understandable too, yeah. Yeah, they're definitely doing a lot in other places. See No Evil 69. They also have all their businesses. Years. I just need to keep it going. Control most construction. Have a lot of city contracts, so they stay quiet. They should be good. No need to kill. And hey, if that's the case, if they're just making, like I said, I don't know. They could be making more money than ever now by not doing certain things like fucking killing people in the street or killing rats or whatever else. And if that's the case, then they're absolutely better off. It's just that as long as you're breaking the law, if nobody has fear of repercussion, why would they not become a rat with all the benefits that the government? Because the old school values aren't there anymore, unfortunately. So, like, as far as the pros and cons, they have everything to gain by becoming a cooperator and everything to lose um, by being a stand up guy. It's a shame. But it's become so appealing, especially with the stuff we see going on now. I don't know. I just think that it's put people in a position where not only are they not afraid to cooperate, but they're almost driven towards it. I don't have many men dedicated to the mob anymore. Homeland Security took them away. I don't know, man. I think right after 9/11, yeah, but after a couple of years, they were right back at it. Steve Cutler, believe terrorism is the FBI's number one target than the mafia. We disagree. From what we've seen, unfortunately, if they would have been paying more attention to terrorism and less attention to the mafia, then a very terrible, terrible tragedy that happened in this country could have been avoided. I hate to say this, but when it comes to law enforcement, I've said this before, and I know it firsthand. Um, Law enforcement in this country is always going to be focused on, just like everybody else, money. Where's the money? And that's the mob. Unfortunately, they'll pay more attention to the mob than they will terrorism. I believe that wholeheartedly. I really think that, right after 9/11 and stuff, yeah. Um, for a while, it turned to terrorism. And we heard that they took a lot of guys, off of, the organized crime task forces and shit like that, obviously. But, after time, they went right back to what they were always most interested in, which is the mob. And I believe it's still like that till this day. Do you believe the feds listen to FBS? Probably. I don't know if you were asking that question directly to me, but I'll answer it. Yeah, Carlos is right. They listen to all the shows. Definitely. Like I said, they got a couple of agents sitting at home watching YouTube all day. I wouldn't doubt it. FBS can read and pronounce words like genre correctly. I can, and names, and I don't scramble them. The life was never honorable. I've seen NYPD and FBI reports from the 1960s, and at that time they had over 120 documented confidential informants. Oh, yeah, I agree. Absolutely. But imagine how many they got now. Now they probably have 12,000. It's, you know, everything's changed and gotten worse. What's your email, FBS? Fatballeditalian@gmail. I'd say half of the guys believed in it and followed the rules at that time. Probably. Yeah. The government has enough money to go after both at the same time. Also true. What was it? Was it Ngotti 96 when he said the feds are a machine? They don't run out of time or money. It's the truth. Everybody loves Ray Mundy. Gino the nose. I believe I saw you getting kicked out of somebody's chat yesterday. Is that right? Good for you. That's a fucking compliment considering whose chat it was. The mob needs a raise. Give them double time on holidays, and they'll go back to work again. Oh shit! They track everything absolutely. That's if it wasn't set to be avoidable. Greg Scarpa, he told them 3 years before 9/11. I don't know what you mean. Um, Scarpa, Greg Scarpa, he told them 3 years before 9/11. What does that mean? I'm very confused about, especially since Scarpa was dead um, more than 3 years before 9/11. Very confused. Imagine the Fed somewhere watching Sunny Money. Well, considering who he aligned himself with, they're probably watching him too. It's fucked up, but no offense, FBS. I don't think the agents are watching you. First of all, and Val, I would take no offense. I hope they're not. You got to understand that it's not about me. They're watching all these mob tube shows. You have to remember people we have on, people we talk about. It's not about us, the person with the show, at least not in the case of, us guys who never had anything to do with the mob. You know, some of us talk to people and have guests on our show who they take interest in or took interest in at one point. And there was that New Yorker article where the feds want to hear what all these mob guys on YouTube have to say. So, and these are mob guys that aren't active in the life anymore. People like Sammy and Jimmy Calandra and all that. And I have Jimmy Calandra on my show, stuff like that. So trust me, they're watching all of our shows. There's no doubt about it. We don't have to be ex-mob guys. It's not like, ooh, they're watching us to catch us in a crime. They're watching our shows because of the discussions we have, what we talk about, who we talk to, things like that. Let me see something. And besides, you guys underestimate the FBI. You don't understand. FBI number one priority is anti-terrorism. I'll never believe it. If you think that, you don't understand how law enforcement works. And plus, we've seen that that's not the case. I wish that was true, and maybe it is. I could be wrong. I don't know. I just don't think so. I don't think so. The feds are worried about what every other type of law enforcement is worried about: drugs, the mob, money involved crimes, things like that. That's what it's all about. Law enforcement is a business. Don't ever think it isn't. Oh, Scarpa Jr. Okay, I was gonna say Scarpa Jr. Yeah, it was a celly with Ramsey Youssef. Yeah, I know about that. I read that actually recently. Um, just like hip hop police. Yeah, yeah, guys. You know that there's fucking branches of police departments that are or units, whatever you want to call them, that are in place only to watch rappers. They keep an eye on rappers. I mean, RJ was a class guest today, FBS. Um, I like that he's a facts guy. I watched him before. I didn't recognize him at first until you said the name of his channel. Yeah, man, he's a good guy and he's a historian. He knows a lot. He knows his shit, man. Oh, he means the towers were coming down regardless. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to get into all the theories and shit. Um, at this point, FBS, you have your own FBI file, re mob tube. Yeah, they don't get like when I say that, like I think that the feds are watching me and all of us. It's not. I'm not sitting here acting like as if I'm some figure that the FBI is interested in. The FBI has no reason to be interested in me. But all these shows popped up at the same time. We're discussing mobsters. We're talking history. Like I said, we have guests on the show that may or may not have been involved in the life, or may or may not have been informants. Um, a lot of different people have made new friends and communicate with all kinds of other people and shit like that. And they watch everything. The feds aren't, like I said, from the Gotti movie, they don't run out of time or money. The feds know the mob watches some of this themselves and at time interact different names and such. That's another thing. Of course they do. Absolutely. Listen, I've gotten some tips on not on anybody specific, but a lot of people, yeah, they use different names. They're not who you'd expect them to be. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of and look, the feds they never know what's going to be said, so they watch. They want to hear. Look at that New Yorker article. Um, they watched. They watched they watch. I'm sorry, Jimmy Calandra, Sammy the Bull. Who else did they mention? They mentioned someone else too. It wasn't Panisi. Why would they? Is possibly an active informant. I can't remember. Did they mention A Light? I don't know, but so they're They're watching this stuff. And look, Sammy already gave them dozens of people, and this was 25, 26 years ago, that he got out of prison and entered witness protection and all that stuff. But it says in the article they want to hear, when they hear his stories and stuff like that, it gives them an idea, because they're gathering intelligence. So it gives them an idea of how these guys thought, about how they did things, about how they met, about how they worked with each other. And that's still of interest to the feds. So they watch those shows. So they watch these little shows too. It only makes sense. Joseph Canada. They most certainly take time to check out all these shows. Same thing with music. There's people being indicted for murders just off song lyrics. They follow all this stuff, media, social media. Exactly. Exactly. Miss can't be wrong. I think you're going to be getting a lot of interviews, FBS, easy for guys to talk to. Thank you again. FBS is codename Baby Bing. That was AJ, right? They also have programs that will scan YouTube and phone calls on all kind of keywords. They don't have to have an agent watching this show until it gets flagged. Again, true. Lexi Johnson, also true. Everything is watched. Absolutely, Carlos Bunez. FBS, they have their little rats trying to draw information for them. Yeah, absolutely, without a doubt. Taking down organized crime isn't the challenge it used to be. No, it's not. No, it's definitely not. But at the same time, organized crime, they're not leaving bodies in the street and doing stuff so out in the open anymore. So I think they still have to have they have to have all those guys under a pretty close watch, because I think, like people were saying about them going back to becoming a secret society, I think things are being hidden more well now. Gino the Nose. They're very obvious watching all of these shows. It's like hip hop cops. Things are revealed on these shows. Lee Cole call with Sheen. They care about that stuff. See, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Even a show like Lee Cole's, they're watching that too. Of course, stuff like that. They know that Lee Cole is involved with Gene Borello. Shit like that. They're gonna watch stuff like that. Maybe we all put ourselves in a really stupid situation here. I don't know, but I know that they're gonna, that they're watching the Mob Tube unit, a whole file on the FBS family. God, I hope not. Oh, okay, cool. Thanks, Miss Can't Be Wrong. Yeah, hip hop cops have been around for a minute. Do you remember that picture? If not, look it up. One of the hip hop cops, I don't know if he was jealous or I don't know what it was, but he was caught pouring sugar into Fat Joe's gas tank. I think it was an SUV outside a show. He was an NYPD. He was caught. Somebody took a picture of him pouring sugar into Fat Joe's gas tank. Tim Egan, FBI, number one priority is the acquisition of power, which means keeping politicians they're in bed with happy. Organized crime is still on their radar, just not a priority. See, I believe it's a priority, man. I absolutely believe it's a priority. Hi, FBS, and everyone in the chat. Oh, what's up, Kevin Mack? Imagine the file they have on SlobTube. I see a lot of names in here. Good comments, too. I love it. FBS is growing day by day. Thank you, Kevin Mack. Tony Ducks, they've been watching rappers way before the Biggie and Tupac incidents. Yeah. Yeah, of course. You're providing content legit. You're good, bro. Thank you, man. They aren't glued to the screen every second of every show, but they're definitely checking out and listening for keywords. Yeah, absolutely. And if one of us has somebody on that's of interest to them or something like that, they'll watch that. You know what I mean? Who cares? Let them watch. It's entertaining. They probably like Mob too. Probably. There's a lot to like about it. Imagine rookie FBI agent who has to report on Mob 2 beefs. Yeah, that would be fucking funny. Gene disappeared from the internet, clearly advised to shut the fuck up. There's an example right there. Yeah, I mean, he didn't just disappear to disappear. Gene wants more than anything to be able to come on YouTube and talk that shit. So, yeah, he must have been told something. Franzese, I don't know. I wouldn't doubt it though if they listen to him too. If you read that New Yorker article, it explains a lot. It explains how it's not that they're watching them because they're currently in the life or anything. They're not. They're watching them because, like I said, they gain intelligence from it. They or gather intelligence from it. I'm sorry. They get to listen to guys like Sammy, and when they hear him tell his stories, they hear about different things that they might not have picked up when they were meeting with Sammy or when he did his 302s. They hear details, they hear thought processes, they hear about what makes the mob tick, stuff like that. Even though it's different now than it was when those guys were involved. This article explains it, how and why they're watching these shows. Subscribers also have stories that they tell. Definitely. FBS, I emailed you a video of a mob hit in my town. Caught on the mobster's home security cameras. His wife finds him. It's pretty scary. Oh, good. Thanks. I want to see that. A-Light's a scumbag. Agreed. More views for you. There you go, Ryan Lucido. There's a silver lining, right? FBI forever bothering Italians. John Panisi is a scumbag. Also agreed. Sammy also has former feds talking on his podcast. I'm not sure if they can talk about it without it being screened before broadcasted. Yeah. I'm not paranoid. I just know what's going on. They watch you because your content is great, FPS. Listen, I hope they don't watch me at all. If they didn't have specific hip hop police until after they were killed, but you guys are talking about that. All right. Johnny the Weasel Panisi. Yes, RPMJ, I have. Panisi seems depressed, lol. He's certainly he's very down and he talks very, very slow. Something's up there. There you go, Cleveland Corleones. Imagine the feds by the water cooler saying, "Did you watch FPS last night?" What they arrest you for, having badass content. Wait a minute, the John Gotti picture is back. Yeah, it never went away. We put up the green screen last night because we wanted to do a Halloween background. And since I had it up this morning when I was getting ready to do the first Alpo show, I decided to throw a picture of the guys from the movie Paid in Full on there. Yeah. It should always be assumed that someone is watching you. Tony Ducks couldn't have said it better myself. And listening. Was it John Gotti who said never say anything that you don't want played back to you on a recording? Yeah. Fetty Wap? Nah, I don't follow that. These guys irk me. I don't even follow like any current hip hop stuff, and I don't pay attention to any news whatsoever. What do you get arrested? Oh, maybe I did. Maybe I saw that on Google or something. Let me see. Oh no, I didn't read that. 100 keys, huh? Jesus Christ. Fucking guy. Yeah, Alpo got his fusilli sauced. His album sales are going to skyrocket now. Yeah, I know, right? All right, guys. Well, I wasn't going to stay on long tonight. I just wanted to do this second thing about Alpo, and I wanted to ask the question: do we think anything will change? Not a chance in my mind. I think it'll stay the same. But I guess it did prove that there is still some danger out there for people who make that decision in life. I don't know. But thank you guys for being here. You can tell I'm exhausted. I got to go to work in the morning. And then I'm going to be on tomorrow night at 7 p.m. with Tom LaVecchia on Armchair MBA. I didn't want to forget that. And one other thing I want to announce for you guys, and I'll probably make like a separate video for this too. Let me see. The upcoming John Gotti III fight. Okay. Have your pens ready if you want information on this. It'll be in Providence, November 7th. For tickets, call Big Steve. His number is 1-516-369-3489. And he'll hook you up. So November 7th in Providence, Rhode Island will be the next John Gotti III fight. And if you call Big Steve, he'll get you whatever you need. And you'll be all set. I believe November 7th is a Sunday, right? I think so. So I just wanted to announce that. And don't forget to catch me tomorrow night on Armchair MBA. I don't know if I'll be doing my own video. It depends. But happy Halloween to everyone. Thank you for being here with me. I appreciate all you guys, the moderators, everybody. You're great. I got the best subscribers in the world. And I thank all of you for everything you do for me. And I'm going to run. I will see you guys tomorrow night. And until then, I love you all and salute.